It's really going to be a super Sunday when it comes to the footballing world. It's not only the Euro final, but it's the Copa America final as well. And what a final it's going to be. It's Colombia trying to win their first Copa America since 2001, taking on the reigning champs and the reigning world champs in Argentina. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you. This tournament is played out. It's been passionate. It's been cagey. It's been really watchable throughout. And it's going to be an incredible final. Argentina, a team that are the world champions, that have only lost twice in their last 62 games across the board, takes on a team that is now unbeaten in their last 28 in Colombia. On Pinnacle, the markets, to win the final, Argentina, minus 171 for Lionel Messi to go out on a high. Colombia, plus 145. The money line within 90 minutes, Argentina, plus 127. The draw, plus 192. Colombia to win, plus 299. The handicap is set at a quarter of a goal, minus 0.25. Argentina, minus 111. Even odds for Colombia at plus a quarter of a goal. The goal line is set at 2, plus 106 for the over, under 2 at minus 119. This Copa America is being set up to be Argentina, Lionel Messi's tournament. It's been a much more straightforward path to the final, with Colombia, having to get through a group featuring Brazil, and then it was a bloodbath against Uruguay and a 1-0 win. Daniel Munoz was sent off in the first half with Colombia up a goal. They did hold on to survive to punch their ticket to the final. Of course, Argentina got past Canada in their semifinal fixture. How are you handicapping this match? How are you looking at this game, Jake?
Yeah, I think if Munoz was available, I would definitely be looking at a pro-Colombia play, because I think he's been really good this tournament. Not only in his attacking output, because he's contributed a few goals, but just his defensive work. The amount of tackles he makes, the amount of clever fouls. He's just very good one-on-one against wingers. So he's going to be a huge blow, and that does make me a little bit hesitant about making a pro-Colombia play, even though I do think the price of Colombia is too big. You're looking at plus 299 for Colombia win on the money line, and you're getting a quarter goal head start at plus 100. And I was very, very tempted with the quarter of a goal head start, because, as you mentioned, Colombia unbeaten in 28 games. That is an incredible run. And Argentina 2 defeats in 62. So these teams just don't lose football matches, which immediately has me thinking draw. They'll share the game after 90 minutes. The goal total is understandably low. I don't expect this one to get out of hand. You're looking at under 2 at minus 119 again. That did cross my mind, but I can't come away from the draw. Now, initially, before recording, I was very keen on backing either team or both teams to win on penalties, but this turns out that although we've not had extra time the entire way through the tournament, we're going to have extra time in this game if it goes past 90
So bizarre.
minutes.
So weird.
So my idea of playing both to win on penalties is null and void, really. So I'm just going to back the draw, plus 192. I'm going to keep it simple. These two teams don't lose matches. I think the fact that Munoz is suspended means Colombia will be a little bit more reserved, because he does add so much more down the right-hand side from an attacking perspective than the backup. So, I'm going to back the draw plus 192 as the main bet. And Pinnacle haven't got the card prices up yet, but I'm going to be fascinated to see where they set this line, because previous Copa America finals have exploded with cards. The last 8 Copa finals have averaged 7 cards per game. So if the line is anywhere near 4.5, 5, 5.5, take the over, because it could easily get out of hand. And granted, we don't know the referee appointment, but he does. I don't think it'll matter too much. These are two feisty teams. It's a final. There's a lot at stake, and there's been a lot of cards already this tournament.
Yeah, there were 9 cards in the 2021 final. I know the stakes were a little bit different. It's Argentina, Brazil in that game. There were a combined 39 fouls, or 41 fouls in that game, I believe. Like, it was just foul after foul. I see this game playing out, so let's throw some names. If Paredes comes back into the team, which he very well might for a game like this for Argentina, booking. Jefferson Lerma, booking. Like, there's certain players that you can pinpoint based upon the way that these two teams played. The other game, the equivalent game that Argentina, like I don't think they've played a team like Colombia in this tournament, but the closest would be Ecuador, who they finished 1-1 in the quarterfinals and ended up going to penalties in that game. Argentina had a really difficult time dealing with the speed and the press and the pace at the game when Ecuador did push. Colombia plays at a completely different speed, and they play even faster. Like Brazil couldn't keep up with Colombia when they played. If the game stayed 11v11 against Uruguay, I don't think that Uruguay could have kept up. I think Colombia can really challenge this Argentine side, who at times look a little bit slow, look a little bit leggy, look a little bit predictable. They don't really have a threat in over the top, so I think Colombia can play that game. I actually think right now that Colombia is the best side in world football based upon the way they play. I know it sounds crazy, but if undefeated in 28, it's no coincidence. And they played really good teams over that span. They're deep in attacking areas. They're combative in defensive areas as well. They make mistakes, but the pace by which they play is something that you don't typically see in international football. They're having success by playing that way. I've been backing them over the course of the tournament. I'm not going to stop backing them now. But if you want a little bit of insurance, Colombia on the handicap at a quarter of a goal at even money. I mean, if we think this game will be close, and you and I both do, that there's very little to separate these sides, the game ends in a draw. It's a half win. If you want to go with a draw no bet when it comes to Colombia, plus 170, I like that number as well. Look, like, I understand that Messi's been the focus. It's been fanfare across the board for Messi. It hasn't been typical Argentina fans at this tournament. There have been Lionel Messi fans as being staged in the United States. I understand it's all skewing in that direction, but I just don't think that Argentina has played an opponent like this yet. So if Colombia can lick their wounds and pick up where they left off against Uruguay, I think they have a good chance to win this one outright. But the insurance of backing a potential draw in the end, I think it's worthwhile. I should also mention James Rodriguez has 6 assists in this tournament. The next most assists in this tournament is 2. It just shows you what this team is all about. I would back them to win in penalties at plus 840.
Back them to win in penalties, even with Emi
I would
Martinez.
back both sides. I would back both sides like you suggested before. Because Argentina, you know, with Emi Martinez in the best goalkeeper in the world, if you're getting that juice, if you think it's going to go to extra time, I mean, the method of victory at that number is okay. Plus 810 to back Argentina, plus 887 to back Colombia as well. So if you want to go both ways, if you think it could go to penalties, which I don't know, there's a lot of reasons to think it could. Jake, would you recommend making that double both way play for that? Are you that confident?
Yeah,
I'm going to back the draw.
If I'm just going to back the draw for now because of the extra time. That's the main thing. Is we don't see too many goals in extra time, but we've seen a couple in the Euros where, like there's been a goal. Obviously, England did it. They scored early in extra time. It's just, do you want to take the chance of the game going all the way to penalties, or would you just happily take the plus 192 for the draw and then you can just enjoy the rest of the game without sweating for another half an hour? That'd be the way I looked at it. It's a little bit safer as a bet, but I think it might be one for in play. If you get a feel for the game, it's half time, 50 minutes gone, and it's tight and it's cagey. Then I'd probably look to back it. Then if it's still 0-0, I'd definitely be all over it. If it's the later in the game it goes, obviously the tighter the players will get. You get a feel for, if it is an end-to-end encounter, you probably want to avoid that. But if it is tight, cagey, they're still feeling each other out, they're kind of cancelling each other out, then I would definitely be looking towards getting back in both. Like you said, back in both makes sense.
Remember, anything can happen in penalties. Emi Martinez, the best in the world. I'll put up my hand and say it. Colombia is very good penalty takers, but even Lionel Messi missed his penalty, the first penalty taken against Ecuador, and it was Emi Martinez to the record. I kind of like that bet both ways. On Saturday, there is a third place game. Canada, look at that. It's still another big game for Jesse Marsh's side as they take on Uruguay. I'm not sure what Uruguay will look like. Ugly scenes after their semifinal loss with Darwin Nunez. going into the crowd, throwing punches. A number of players, they felt like their families were being threatened, like really disturbing and ugly scenes, really worrying scenes after that one. I'm not sure what the fallout is going to be as of yet. And it seems like Jesse Marsh has indicated there will be some rotation within the Canadian side as well. The money line on the match, Canada to win in 90 at plus 544. The draw plus 316, minus 179 if you want to back Uruguay. The Asian handicap set at 1 if you want to back Canada, plus 1, minus 107, minus 103 if you want to back Uruguay. The total is set at 2.5, minus 116 for the over, plus 103 for the under. I actually called a Canada-Uruguay match. It was in the build-up to the last World Cup, and Uruguay won that game 2-0. Was the final. There's just so many unknowns heading into this game, Jake, that it makes it a little bit difficult to, with any confidence, make a play right off the hop. But what do you make of this third place game? Third place games are difficult anyways, but it matters for Canada because they're an association that needs money and there's prize money at stake. And obviously, with Canada not playing World Cup qualifying games between now and 2026, a game like this is of critical importance for preparation because it'll be very difficult to replicate even a game like this over the next 2 years in the build-up to the World Cup.
Yeah, and that's why I'm surprised when you said that Marsh is thinking about rotating. I was like, why would you rotate?
I agree.
He said it's a great opportunity for you to maybe finish third. Like Uruguay are going to be in disarray. They might have players suspended off the back of what happened the other day. You get the feeling that they probably aren't too bothered about finishing third or fourth. A bit similar to England in the World Cup. Like no one over here cared whether we finished third or fourth. We got knocked out in the semis. I mean, your tournament's over. I'm shocked I'd be shocked if Marsh makes loads of changes because this seems like a great opportunity. I think given what happened with Uruguay last night and the everything that happened after the game, I definitely will be looking at maybe making a pro-Canada player plus one handicap at minus 107. Now it's not going to be a full unit, but I'll have a half a unit on that and just for a little bit of interest because I absolutely think that Canada should take this game very seriously. I think that their style of play is well suited to playing against Uruguay's back to front direct style. It'd be lovely. It'd be a great story, wouldn't it, if Canada did manage to finish third and do something pretty special, and it would really get the hopes up. The nation would be right behind Canada across the next couple of years before this World Cup, and it would just set them a really good path to not only potentially do something at the World Cup, but just improve the overall view of soccer in Canada and get it in front of more eyes and get people more involved in it, because that is ultimately what this is going to do. It's kind of captured the imagination really of everybody over there. So it would be great. I'm not backing it just because of that reason, but I think from a matchup perspective, it could be a good one for Canada.
Yeah, I'm backing the goals in this one. I would take the over. I know it's set at 2.5. Typically when these third place games play out, like you loosen up a little bit, you allow your teams to go out and play. In 2021, it was Peru and Colombia. It ended 3-2 in that game. And Canada have created chances in this tournament. They really have. Like, their XG numbers have been decent. They're an awkward team to defend, even though the final product hasn't always been there. Uruguay is known for their defensive prowess and their play, but if there is any rotation, they could be a little bit more vulnerable. And if Uruguay wants to come out and get some of that frustration, that angst out of their system, then go on and attack and go on and play a little bit more free in this game. I think that's the pressure on Canada as well. Jesse Marsh wants to show that his side can play attacking football, and so far it hasn't come together. And if I'm him, the rotation in my team comes more at the back than it does up top. Alphonso Davies took a knock. We'll see if he's okay to go. He might want to bring in a young teenager, Luc de Fougerolles, a young player, maybe not a teenager anymore, with Fulham to give him a competitive fixture in this. So if there's rotation, it might come at the back, and it might come with mistakes that come along with that. So I'd play over the 2.5 goal total in this one and hope that this plays out like a typical third place game that, yeah, you still want to win the game, but you're willing to let down your hair and be a little bit more adventurous at times. So that would be my play. That game goes on Saturday. It would be a good way to round out the tournament for Canada as well. Thanks to Jake for all of his coverage of Copa America throughout the tournament. This has been great, and thank you for tuning in as well. I am Gareth Wheeler, and this has been your Copa America final weekend preview here for Pinnacle.